The ARCA Menards Series just down the road from the home of the Blues, Memphis, Tennessee. It's the Sioux Chief Power Pex 200, the championship round for the Sioux Chief Showdown. It's been a great day today, but we are excited to be here today on this 3/4 of a mile racetrack. We have a very limited chance of rain today, and that is a good thing. Hello, everybody. I am Bob Dillner. We have a championship battle both in the Sioux Chief Showdown and the overall ARCA Menards Series. So much on the line here today. I'm Bob Dillner and my buddy Jim Trado with me as well at Memphis, and this place presents a unique challenge, Jim.
Bob, it's the only 3/4 mile track we're going to run. It's going to determine the Sioux Chief Showdown that pays out $1 million to win in a 10 race within this series. And this track surface is like nothing we've seen. Maybe Pensacola last year for the ARCA Menards Series has been the closest and worn out surface to what we're going to find here. And this 200 laps is going to take a long time for these drivers to figure out how to race on worn tires because the fall off is very, very dramatic and quick.
This Sioux Chief Showdown is electrifying in 2020 for the ARCA Menards Series. Let's show you what it's all about. I can tell you one thing that it is about is nearly $1 million on the line in overall point standings.
I love the fact we had all these different drivers racing all these beautiful half-mile, 1 mile tracks. We went to Gateway, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Daytona Road Course, all counted towards it. And when we started this thing, we thought, oh, here comes Chandler Smith. He's going to run away with it. Not the case.
And then there was Ty Gibbs and a kid from Wisconsin named Sam Mayer, who has been pretty dominant as of late. 4 overall winners in the Sioux Chief Showdown this year.
Yeah, he's really strong everywhere he goes. Michael Self should have won and did win at the Daytona Road Course. But this Gibbs and Mayer combatancy between what they've been doing in the Sioux Chief Showdown has really come to fore here. They are racing for this championship.
Championship will be decided today, just 6 points between Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs.
And Bob, only race points count. So those 6 points are 6 positions on the track. Ty has to beat Sam by 7 spots on the track, and he's the winner.
Let's go to the third member of our broadcast team, Dave Reef.
Well, guys, this showdown isn't just about ARCA East, ARCA West, and ARCA Menards Series drivers. It's also about the teenagers of the sport that are racing for their own championship based on the short track nature of the showdown. Teenagers that can't race at places like Daytona. And this is what both Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs hope they walk out of Memphis today with, the 2020 Sioux Chief Showdown trophy. You know what? Marty Lindley is the crew chief for Sam Mayer. Mark McFarland spins the wrenches for Ty Gibbs. I talked to both of them. Both of them said behind the baby faces are racers with dedication, desire, and drive. They want to be stock car superstars starting today.
Oh man, just the progress he's made, and it's really not been as much this year as from the transition to last year, him getting a year older, him showing up at New Smyrna. I really seen a different Sam Mayer than I seen all last year. And then as the racing seasons progressed this year, just as not making as many mental rookie mistakes, nailing these restarts better, everything. And I said it last week after Bristol. I told him after the race, I said I think he's ready to move on and go on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I guess my most I'm impressed with is how much he's matured to as far as his feedback. Not necessarily worrying about the scoreboard and the lap times, but really concentrating on his car and giving great feedback and learning different setups and different things we change to adjust. He's really matured in that way, but still he's a heck of a race car driver, and he's put us in this position to where we can battle for this championship, and we just want to give him the best car we can.
All right, Jim, who's got the edge today, Sam Mayer or Ty Gibbs?
When they rolled off the trucks, Bob, Ty Gibbs put up the fastest lap. I listened to his radio. Not a lot of worries there. He wasn't super unhappy with the car. He asked for very little changes. That car remained fastest throughout practice, and man, he's the guy that everybody's been looking forward to trying to beat here. After he rolled up the hauler fast, he's been fast since.
Both of those drivers dominant this year here in 2020. Now, time for the most famous words in racing.
Good evening. I'm Joe Ismert, president of Sioux Chief Manufacturing, sponsor of this evening's Sioux Chief Power Pex 200, and proud sponsor of the Sioux Chief Showdown. Welcome to Memphis International Raceway. Tonight, after 200 laps of exciting racing, we'll crown the 2020 ARCA Menards Series Sioux Chief Showdown champion. Sioux Chief and our retail partner Menards want to thank all of our loyal customers and all of the racing fans as we invite you to sit back and enjoy the race. Drivers, start your engines!
So much on the line here today for the 18 ARCA cars that came here to Memphis International Raceway today, including that man, the 23, Brett Holmes, 3 points behind Michael Self in the 25 for the overall ARCA Menards Series Championship. We'll have the green flag next from Memphis. General Tire pole qualifying earlier today for the ARCA Menards Series, and Ty Gibbs, just like in practice, dominant in qualifying.
He was out late in the qualifying order, so the thought was, okay, who's going to do this? Because you know how fast Sam Mayer's been. Well, Ty put it on him. He had really fast lap 1 and backed it up on lap 2 as well.
He's 17 years old for just a couple of more weeks. In fact, next week he'll turn 18 when we're in Springfield, Illinois, and he'll lead the field to the green flag with the Suchi Power Pack starting lineup. Brett Holmes alongside, battling for a championship.
Hayley Deegan qualified third for the second time in the last 5 races. You give him a chance to qualify. Hayley showed speed there in qualifying, and Sam Mayer qualified fourth, but that's not where he'll start the race.
Drew Dollar is second in the Bounty Rookie Challenge point standings for the top rookie in ARCA. He will line up in 5th. And Taylor Gray, just 15 years old. He's been so impressive in a part-time schedule this year.
Chandler Smith came off a 5th place run last night at Las Vegas. Wasn't happy with the qualifying run. We'll see how they make their advancements here in this first portion of the race. He'll start 8th.
Michael Self, not a great qualifying effort for him, the point leader coming in, but he's inside that top 10. Chris Wright and Thad Moffat, a return to the series for Richard Petty's grandson.
Hey, and Brad Smith made it. He had a hollow breakdown, was not able to participate in practice. He'll start 16th in his family team's number 48.
Wayne Peterson rounds out the field here today for the ARCA Menards Series at Memphis International Raceway. Sam Mayer in the 21 is dropping to the rear of the field. He actually had to change tires after his qualifying lap. Had a mishap there and actually had to make that change. So he'll go to the back. He'll have the General Tire onboard camera today. We also have a second camera as well today, and that belongs to the Clean Packs number 46 team for Thad Moffat. Thad, a couple of top 5 runs this year.
Was up to 5th in points before watching the last 5 races or so. Glad to have Clean Packs on board with us literally to get that another shot here at Memphis and hopefully be able to see him back at Kansas. It's a lot riding on this young man, the grandson of the king, Richard Petty.
This track surface very abrasive here today. For more, let's go to Dave Reef.
In fact, Bob, so abrasive, teams have 8 General Tires here in the pits, and they say they will use them. It's a track that will fall off about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds over 30 laps. But let's add a couple more things into the mix of today's race. Suddenly that bright gleaming orb out in the sky, that's the sun. It's the first time we've seen it in 48 hours, and it's brought up the temperature 5 degrees. Up and down pit road, talk to the crew chiefs. They think this one could be a very interesting race, so buckle up, guys. Hold on. This one's going to be fun.
I think this race is going to lend to strategy. Do you charge hard and just hope to save until the first of 2 race breaks? What's going to happen? We'll find out. Going green in Memphis, Tennessee, with Ty Gibbs and Brett Holmes on the front row. Ty Gibbs grabs the lead, but the big question, Jim, is what happened to that 23 of Brett Holmes?
So the ARCA Menards Series has a start line. They don't have a start box. And what I saw was Ty laid back and then got into a position to lead. He has to lead at that box and lead to the start-finish line on the initial start. He got a good launch. Brett spun his tires on the outside and was really fighting to get somewhere on position on the racetrack. He dropped all the way back to 4th.
He actually lost a spot just momentarily to Taylor Gray in that 17, has gotten back to 4th right now. Let's check out what happened on the initial start of this race with the Auto Park It replay for the 23 of Brett Holmes. Unfortunately, we'll get to that here in just a second. Right now, 1st through 3rd in this race, very close, and it's a pair of Monster Energy machines at the top of the heap.
They're not teammates. Hayley Deegan's in a Ford for DGR Crosley. Ty Gibbs racing out of the Joe Gibbs Racing Shop. His dad, Coy, the listed owner in that Toyota. Ty was fast in practice. He led every but one lap a race ago at Winchester Speedway. This team has found speed at this late point in the season.
Hayley Deegan trying to become the first female to win an ARCA Menards Series national competition. But earlier today out in Las Vegas, how about Gracie Trotter going to victory lane in the ARCA Menards Series West?
Hayley did it 3 times in the ARCA Menards Series West, known as the K&N Pro Series West, so Gracie gets the nod as the first ever ARCA driver that happened to be female that went to victory lane. Congrats to BMR, a top 3 sweep for Bill McAnally Racing there at the Bull Ring a few hours ago as well.
A great day for Bill McAnally Racing as well as Gracie Trotter. Congratulations on behalf of everybody at MAV TV. Right now, Ty Gibbs, he might be trying to save those tires because we know that this car is just ultra quick. And right now, Hayley Deegan, Drew Dollar, and Brett Holmes all right there. Drew Dollar, by the way, he had some trouble in qualifying earlier today. Had some troubles with the ECU on that car. They got everything straightened away before going green here tonight, but he felt he could have qualified even better.
Yeah, these 2 drivers racing behind Ty Gibbs are locked in the battle for the Bounty Rookie Challenge. Here goes Drew for a spot. Drew made up some points last week as Hayley got in the wall and did not finish at Winchester, but this is a battle that we've seen all season long. They're right there in the points, and Drew Dollar gets the spot on Hayley. Hayley was really aggressive, I think, on Ty there, saying, if you want to conserve, I'm not the driver you want behind him. Well, look at that. Drew Dollar sees the door, opens it up, and that rookie driver in the white and green 15 went right on through to get second.
Drew Dollar up to second early in this race at Memphis. Drew Dollar, by the way, one of a few drivers that has actual race experience here. Dollar looking for the lead, pokes his nose to the inside of the 18 of Ty Gibbs. Drew Dollar in that Sunbelt Rentals machine going for the lead at Memphis. Not going to be able to get it done right there. Close call right there with Wilson in the 12. Slower car on the inside, and Dollar had to split him. So Dollar back to second, but mentioning that experience here.
Yeah.
Last year, the K&N Pro Series East ran here at this racetrack. Ty Gibbs was in the show, but so was Drew Dollar.
Dollar did a nice job last year as well. The couple of drivers that were racing in the East and West Series came here and raced, Ty Gibbs among them. Hayley Deegan ran this track 2 years ago. Michael Self's never been here, so for them to work on this car and get what he can with this Venturini Motorsports 25, he's our championship point leader by just 3 positions, 3 points on the racetrack, and he's right in the middle of all of this.
Michael Self to the inside of Taylor Gray. He's going to bring Chandler Smith with him. The Venturini car is trying to move up a couple of spots here, and another Venturini Motorsports car. That 15 of Drew Dollar continues to stalk the 18. But in talking about Michael Self a little bit more, he's able to get by Taylor Gray and move up to 5th. But Michael Self said, I've been struggling here today. I do not have this track the way I want it. Drew Dollar does to the inside of the Monster Energy machine of Ty Gibbs. Gibbs gives it to him. Drew Dollar to the front, and here comes Brett Holmes as well.
Amazing to see anyone match the speed of Ty Gibbs, albeit on 10-lap runs in practice today. But really, look at how quickly Ty Gibbs is reeling on that outside line on the outside of that black 18.
You got to wonder, is there a problem with the 18, or is he just saving his tires at this point? Because we talked about how abrasive this track surface is.
He and Mark McFarland, his crew chief, as I mentioned at the open of this broadcast, they had a car they did not want to change a lot. This track may be changing. Dave Reeves said the sun came out, it got warmer. This team had to push the button early to stay in that lead position. Ty Gibbs, our general tire pole winner, now is sliding back, maybe even out of the top 5 in a lap or so.
The Clean Packs onboard camera for Thad Moffat, the DGR Crossley machine, returning to the ARCA Menards series. And right now, Moffat currently is in 7th. He just got around that 18 of Ty Gibbs. If you're saving tires, and that could be the case, you know, you wouldn't expect Ty possibly to fall that far back that quick.
It's amazing to know if that was just a conservation move. That was a big, bold one. Here's my keys to the race, Bob. We need to find rhythm. You need to get in that rhythm here. This track really has long corners and long straightaways. Finding that rhythm to get in that mode and mindset. I think we're finally getting into that 15 laps into this race. I also think drive off of turn 2 is important. Right here off of turn 2, you can see how low they get on the racetrack. As those tires wear, sorry, that's turn 4. As the tires wear, though, in turn 2, if you can stay underneath and have some grip left, that's where you can start making a pass heading down the backstretch. Also, I think keeping the leader's pace is really important. You know why? Because if leaders get out and then we have a long green flag run and you get a lap down, it's awfully hard to make a lap back at a track this size that we've seen this year. Hard to make passes on the track once things settle in.
On board with that, Moffat right behind Chandler Smith, but here's the Geico race information. This racetrack, 3/4 of a mile in length, those 2 race breaks at or around lap 75 and 150. And it's been a while since the ARCA Menards series has been here, only the 3rd time in series history. The last time was back in 2001. But you mentioned something very interesting in your keys to the race. Those 2 trouble spots in turn number 2 on the bottom of the racetrack, and also in turn number 4. Grass in turn 2 and a little bit of a drop off if you get too far down there in turn number 4.
And there's wet moisture down there. That green grass is green for a reason. It's pretty damp. I mean, it's almost muddy to the point where if you get lefts on the inside, as we saw Thad Moffat got in the inside grass line in practice, there could be some moisture on there that might kick up on the racetrack.
Battle for the lead. Brett Holmes battling for a championship. He goes to the front at Memphis by Drew Dollar, 18 laps into this one.
Bob, you know they give you a point for leading a lap in ARCA? He's got a 3-point deficit to Michael Self. By leading this lap, it's down to 2 right here.
These 2 have gone toe-to-toe with each other the entire season. In fact, their average finish tied between the 23 and the 25. Further back than that, we see a lot of guys trying to catch Brett Holmes, but right now, Ty Gibbs running way back in that 8th spot. What's going on there, Dave Reef?
Oh, with Ty Gibbs, I talked to Mark McFarland briefly, asked him if there was any concern at all, and he shook his head, didn't look too concerned. He says, we are definitely, though, in tire conserving mode. But the thing that I find quite interesting, remember, we showed you those Sioux Chief showdown points at the beginning. He needs to finish 6 positions better in the 21, and now look who's making up his rear view mirror, the 21 and the 18, right where we see him so many times this year.
Sam Mayer had problems in qualifying on his first lap, got really wickedly sideways, got too far down the racetrack, and because of that, had some issues with the tires. ARCA deemed he was able to change those tires, so the GMS Racing number 21, they changed both rear tires, but they had to start in the rear of the field here today.
Yeah, they saw some chunking and some grooving in the tires. You get broke loose big time in turn 3. So right here on this lap, imagine in qualifying, Sam did the left sides right here to the bottom edge of the racetrack. That little trough, that dark line there on the inside where the wall is for pit road, he actually got into something. He thought maybe moisture, and it cocked the car sideways, and it really grated those rear tires enough where they had to ask and received 2 tires out of the bin that ARCA provided for them. They don't have a penalty. They just had to start at the back of the field. They still have their 8 general tires in their pit box.
Sam Mayer to the inside of Ty Gibbs. This is top 2 in the Sioux Chief Showdown point standings. Right now, Sam Mayer coming to the front after having to start at the rear of this field. Sam Mayer gets by Ty Gibbs. He's now up to 8th. That could be the battle for the championship right there to clinch for Sam Mayer. But another driver trying to clinch a championship is the 23 of Brett Holmes. Big win for him at Kansas. He's been ultra consistent, and now he's leading today at Memphis. What a run for the driver out of Alabama.
The ARCA Menards Series is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards.
29 laps into the Sioux Chief PowerPEX 200 at Memphis International Raceway. It is the championship round for the Sioux Chief Showdown. Brett Holmes, winner at Kansas. He's got a pretty good lead right now, Jim, over Drew Dollar. A 2.5 lead over that 15.
Good pacing by Brett Holmes. This is putting more pressure on that green and white 25 dinosaur of Michael Self. Self's back and forth.
Hayley Deegan rides right behind the top pair in third with Michael Self, the point leader, in fourth. But what's going on with that 23 of Brett Holmes, Dave Reef?
Well, Bob, the worst possible scenario happened at the start for that team. Brett told me all he wanted to do with that second-place qualifying effort was figure out his route to the bottom of the racetrack as quickly as possible, and at whatever cost, do not spin the tires. We saw the start. We saw him fall back. But he also told me that after practicing with what he felt was a car that ranked at about a 7 on the 10 scale, he starts this race with a car that he feels is a 9 out of a 10. He says, you can never have a perfect car, but what I like best about this machine is he says once we get to about 20, 25, 30 laps in, it makes nice medium range and long range runs, and he is putting that on display right now.
Holmes is looking dominant so far, something we saw last week out of that 18 of Ty Gibbs, who led 199 laps out of 200 in Winchester, Indiana.
Yeah, that was a track new to a lot of drivers. We mentioned Hayley Deegan in this number 4 monster Ford for DJR Crosley. She raced here in 2018 with her West Series team at the time, Bill McAnally Racing. One thing her spotter did today, Eric Holmes in practice, after the first run, the car's on jack stands. Even then he was saying, Hayley, don't overdrive the corner. This track's abrasive on tires. Make sure you maintain your pace. Back that corner if you need to. So as she settles in here into third, this is a learning lesson. This is a learning year for her. She said, I'm here to learn every lap. But she also said, I get reminded a lot, about once a lap, about how to not overdrive the corner. So this is a really important lesson. He was starting to harp on her as soon as she put the helmet on, basically, earlier today.
We got to remember where she comes from, the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series, where she's a former Mod Kart championship. This year, 3 top 5 finishes. That 12th place run at Winchester last week, she was certainly disgruntled, I would say, is the best way to describe that last week. But if you look at her stats as of late, she has struggled just a little bit. Just 2 top 5 finishes in the last 12 races.
Well, if you look at the pace set by the last 5 race winners, it's Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer. That pace that those 2 young drivers put on this field, everybody's scratching their head. So she and Seth Smith and the whole team at DJR Crosley have been working hard at trying to keep that pace, maintain that pace with young drivers, including Taylor Gray at just 15 years of age. Hayley, in her first full season in the ARCA Menards Series, trying to get that mindset with these young drivers. This track, however, could be a benefit for DGR's experience because they ran the last 3 East Series races here with different drivers, including Drew Dollar, in the last 3 years. So Memphis could be a track that this could provide comfort for her and her teammates, Thad Moffat included, for DGR to get a really good finish at a track this team finally has some notes on.
Nobody has led more laps in ARCA competition in 2020 than that 18, so it's a surprise to see him right now running 8th, Dave Reef.
Guys, but let's talk a little bit about strategy. Remember at the top of the show, and Mark McFarland talked about his driver's maturity, not worrying about lap times, not worrying about position on the racetrack. This is a team. I asked him again, we don't see you in this position. What is going on? He says, we are truly in tire conserving mode. We're running at about 50% right now in these early laps. We want to get a look and see what these tires are like after a 75-lap run. That'll give us a little better idea on how we're going to attack this race later. So could be a little rope-a-dope move, but the Monster team, they continue to tell me nothing to be concerned about. It's just all part of the game they're playing today in Memphis.
Great strategy. Mark McFarland knows a lot about these race cars, and he's getting ever comfortable with Ty Gibbs and Riley Herbst in this number 18 car this year. Again, we have a built-in race brake at lap 75. They can put 4 general tires on then. Then another one comes out around lap 150. Well, then we have a 50-lap sprint race with 4 fresh generals put on then. They can only put the tires on at that point in the race. So this is really a test of where we're at lap 50, where we are at lap 75, because those tires are going to wear and continue to wear.
And I think what'll be interesting to see is if he's able to close the gap a little bit at the end of this first 75-lap run. If everybody else falls off and maybe he does not, it's definitely something to learn here in the opening laps. There is the 25 Sinclair machine for the ARCA Menards Series overall point leader, Michael Self. 2 wins so far this year, but he and Brett Holmes very similar in what they've been able to accomplish. But he, as you mentioned, had not been to this racetrack, and he said it honestly puzzled me in practice. Car way too loose. They tightened it up for qualifying, and then it was really tight to loose because he was wicked sideways coming off the corners in each of his qualifying laps. Right now, leading coming into this race by 3 points over Brett Holmes, but that margin right now down to 2 because Brett Holmes has led a lap.
Michael Self was in this pressure cooker position 1 year ago with his teammate Christian Eckes. Self and Eckes were neck and neck for the points. As it turns out, Eckes finished no worse than second the last handful of races. Michael Self was working towards great finishes, but I really think last year's process has helped him be less dramatic in his swings. He's very hard on himself. He's always told us that. But Michael Self, the driver, I think has learned from last year, his first full season in the ARCA Menards Series, what he has to overcome. And I want to say Bristol, that fifth place finish there really showed, with all that damage, top fives are good. But I also think what I said a couple races ago, he needs the podium finish and finish ahead of Brett Holmes to win this championship.
2 straight top fives for Michael Self. That runner-up finish last weekend in Winchester. He had 2 races within 48 hours between Bristol and Winchester. But I think when we were listening to his interview with Dave Reef last week, we did hear a different Michael Self than we heard 1 year ago. Last year, a lot of people were picking on him. You're like Eeyore. You're always down in the dumps. And he had a renewed enthusiasm last weekend, both with Bristol and Winchester.
Part of it's because Kevin Reed's not been sleeping much. That's the crew chief in that shop, on the hauler. Even today when Michael radioed in after qualifying, hey, this car's really bad. I saw Kevin at his pit box going through his notes at that moment. They are done worrying about what they can't do because they're doing everything possible they can do with this team. This car is literally being worked on till the moment they have to push it in the hauler in their shops in Concord. There's Kevin there with Kathy Venturini on the pit box. I really believe that he is doing everything possible he can to get in Michael's comfort zone. And by Michael smiling after that second place finish last week, he knows the speed's in this car. That finish is what they're really chasing now, and another victory is certainly what they want here today at Memphis.
Dave Reef, what also can you tell us about that 25?
Well, I can tell you that Kevin Reed continues to say this car gets better and better as the season winds down. But what gives him the ultimate amount of confidence in talking with him before the race is where we head to from here. Over to Springfield to run on the dirt mile, then wrapping things up at Kansas. And that is the place that Kevin Reed certainly has had success as of late, winning in Springfield 3 of the last 5 times there, taking Christian Eckes to the championship over Michael Self. Remember, he was Christian Eckes' crew chief. So Kevin Reed is coming into his comfort zone, and he says, I'm going to do everything I can to bring that driver, that 25, right along with me.
So nice and steady for Michael Self, except for right there, a big wiggle right there. But Sam Mayer right now climbing from the back of the field. He's now up to 6th. That's at General Tire onboard camera. Right now he's trying to knock on the door into the top 5.
Hey, I'm Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 12 Menards Ford Mustang for Team Penske. You're watching the ARCA Menards series on MAV TV.
Ryan Blaney, good luck to him this weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada. There is the 23 of Brett Holmes, who continues to lead. Right now, he's approaching 30 laps led. Very strong performance, and we mentioned that point for leading a lap. If he's able to lead the most laps, he gets another point, and that's valuable in the championship fight.
And with the lead he has now, Bob, it could be a matter where he could even slow down a little bit and maintain this lead and continue clicking off those laps because you get a point for leading the most laps. But I did see out his front windshield a second ago, he's approaching the 10th place car on the racetrack. I think keeping leader's pace is huge because if we don't have anything happen between now and that first built-in timeout lap around lap 75, that's a big deal to have that few cars. There's 10th place car, the 22 of Chris Wright, making room for our leader. Now there's 9 cars left on the lead lap early here.
There's Drew Dollar. He led earlier. Drew Dollar in that Sunbelt Rentals 15. That big winner at Talladega, and right now setting a good pace. And he has struggled a little bit on the short tracks. His best short track finish has been a 6th place run, but today a lot better than that. His nearest person, the person that leads the Bounty Rookie Challenge for the battle for the overall rookie top honors in ARCA, is actually behind Drew Dollar right now. Hayley Deegan in that number 4 machine. Deegan running in 3rd.
She's got a good run, good pace. She's sitting here in 3rd position behind Drew Dollar, ahead of Michael Self. About a second in between the buffer there. So, she got a little sideways there. I wonder if those tires are really starting to wear here on these teams now. It could be a handful behind the wheel of that number 4 Monster Energy Ford.
A lot of teams thought it might be a struggle for the drivers to make it to lap 75 just because of how this abrasive surface wears on the tires, and then they lose all feel in the wheel.
Well, Hayley and her teammate at Jack Crosley won race ago. Winchester Speedway, that worn-out high-banked half mile. They both had tires go down in long runs. They corded the right rear on the 17 car of Taylor Gray, who's sitting in the 6th position right now.
What a run for the driver who now sits in 4th. Sam Mayer with that General Tire onboard camera. What a run for this kid who is battling for the Sioux Chief Showdown Championship today.
So not only did he make up a position on Michael Self, he's closed already now. That's Hayley Deegan just ahead of him. He is on a tear right now. I was thinking about maintaining the pace and just kind of hanging out and maintaining your own thing. Now, not the case for this driver who at Bristol set a brand new record, all NASCAR and ARCA. No one's ever won 2 races in the same day. Sam Mayer ran a 200 lap and won at Bristol in the trucks. Climbed out of that, changed uniforms, climbed in his ARCA Menards Series car and won at Bristol in the ARCA Menards Series race that night. What a great night for him. But we mentioned the success he's had. 5 of the last 9 races, he has gone to victory lane in this series.
Michael Self, 2 wins this year for him. He has some short track wins as well in the Sioux Chief Showdown over the course of the last 2 years. They came last year, and right now he is running in 5th. The General Tire onboard camera for Sam Mayer.
Hey, there's Doc. Michael Self's dad, Mike, comes to as many races as he possibly can. And man, is he enthusiastic. If you want a cheerleader in your camp, he and his son have something special. Not just that father-son mentorship and the bond they have, but he's so supportive of Michael. He's there to support his son. Sometimes I don't think they even see each other at the racetrack, but I know Michael really appreciates his dad making the effort to come all the way from Utah to attend every possible race he can.
Behind Michael Self is the number 17 of Taylor Gray in that Ford Performance machine. Taylor has been struggling just a little bit. If you watch his qualifying lap, his crew chief Blake Bainbridge told me, hey man, he looked good in 1 and 2, went down the backstretch, looked good in 3, and then struggled in that area that we've been talking about that is a trouble spot down in 4 right there. And you can see him wiggle coming off the corner because of that lack of grip at Memphis.
You mentioned the right rear grip specifically, Bob. I dropped it on his racing electronics radio in practice and after his qualifying lap. Just that exit off of turn 4, the right rear grip, wanted to be feeling that tire in the racetrack. It lights up on him, it spins, it wants to go faster than the car does, and it's a lot of tire wear and a lot of turning the wheel here. Watch him this time through 3 and 4. He's actually turning on the entry 2 or 3 times to get that car cornered.
About a second behind this 17 sits the next man in the top 10, 7th place running Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs led early. He was the General Tire Pole Award winner here. But we are told that he is just riding, saving his stuff for the end of this first run to try to learn what they can do in the latter stages of this race. Definitely an interesting move, but we all know that Ty Gibbs, with his 5 wins this year in the ARCA Menards Series, can move through the field in a hurry. And behind that, there is Mark McFarland, his crew chief, on top of the box, analyzing the race pace that Ty Gibbs is doing around this 3/4 of a mile racetrack. Ty Gibbs, very strong, said he loves Memphis. No grip here, but right now he's trying to make it to lap 75 where we're expecting that first race break. Behind him is the number 46 of Thad Moffat. And Thad Moffat hoping for another good run, making his return to the series after a little bit of an absence. That Clean Packs onboard camera for Thad Moffat. And earlier today here during practice, Thad Moffat, let's just call it a moment. He had a moment during practice, and it was one that concerned this team because there was damage to that left front of that nose piece.
Yeah, it was actually getting into the grass, getting too low on the racetrack. In just, I believe, his 3rd lap on the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, and it really messed up the front end geometry. They had to go back in the pits and spend extended time trying to fix the left front balance right in front of their front wheel there. You see it kind of still not, it's a little bit misshapen right where the lower white balance there had to be pounded out after a practice run into the grass.
Our Lucas Oil Production Studios team is so good. We have an Auto Park It replay of what happened to Thad Moffat earlier today. Watch this. This is going down into turn number 1. And when he gets in between 1 and 2, you'll see that left front right there just kind of hit that grass down there. And that could spell trouble for a lot of competitors here today.
And as much as the teams work on keeping the car within spec for qualifying inspection, that left front bump and that run through the mud, that been some bracing. It probably misshaped the front fender that they really worked hard on to make sure it was in the right position, wide enough and far enough out of the wheels to get the maximum downforce on the left front headlight. A lot went into that little repair. Unfortunately for Thad, he had that issue in practice. That was hours ago. He got back onto the track and practiced and qualified and started the race in 10th. So good to see how Thad did there.
Brett Holmes just completed the 71st lap in this race. 200 overall today for the Sioux Chief Power Packs 200 for the ARCA Menards Series. Drew Dollar is second. Sam Mayer is third. Mayer just moving by Hayley Deegan for a spot into third.
Get a built-in timeout at or around lap 75. These teams can change tires. They can add fuel. But there's certain rules. Under caution, if there's not during a race break, you can only add fuel, cannot change tires unless approved by ARCA. So here we are working with these officials, making sure that everybody's square with 8 fresh General tires. That's kind of a super speedway allotment of tires for General Tires to say you can run 8. But this track, because of the distance, the only 3/4 mile track on this schedule, and how hard these tires can get run on, I really believe that's a good call by ARCA to get these 8 tires in the pits to get these teams some fresh rubber, because I don't think the lefts would go 150 around this abrasive racetrack if they had to keep the left side tires on till that final chance to come with 50 to go.
Chandler Smith running in 9th. Chandler Smith not up to full steam here. It's been a struggle for that Venturini Motorsports team. Chandler Smith 2 wins this year, and it came early in the season at Phoenix and Lucas Oil Raceway. Brett Holmes, though, looking for his second victory of the year. Brett Holmes, we're closing in on that first race break, and he's also looking to dominate here today to pick up as many points as he can get to be able to get that spot. And right now, he's running a few spots ahead of Michael Self. And right now, here goes Thad Moffat, about to be turned a lap down here at Memphis.
It's a big deal. Get that car a lap down. Brett Holmes now backs out of the gas pedal, letting Thad go here, because I believe the caution has come out for the first of our 2 race breaks.
Teams will be able to come down pit road, change General tires, as well as make some adjustments to those cars. I don't know if Brett Holmes needs any adjustment right now. The sun is out in Memphis, and the sun is shining on Brett Holmes. First race break underway for the ARCA Menards Series at Memphis International Raceway during the Sioux Chief Power Packs 200. Right now, the rookies looking pretty sporty in Memphis. Drew Dollar runs in second, Hayley Deegan in fourth. So the top 2 in the Bounty Rookie Challenge, very strong today, flexing their muscle. And it's been an interesting battle between 2 high-profile drivers this year in ARCA.
Drew started out the season with that big win at Talladega. Then Hayley came back and ran really strong and led a bunch of laps at I-44 Speedway. They both have had their issues. Drew wiped out that race car by getting taken out at Toledo Speedway a couple of weeks ago.
The last 4 races have been a struggle, up and down, roller coaster for both of the top rookies. But right now, they're separated by just points coming into this one, as Brett Holmes knows a thing or two about coming into this race, 3 points behind point leader Michael Self. A limited capacity crowd today at Memphis International Raceway, but nice to see ARCA back for the 3rd time in series history. The first race was 1998, and the last time was 2001. So 17 years since ARCA has been here at Memphis. There is a look at the Bounty Rookie Challenge and the driver comparison. Top 5 finishes. Actually, Drew Dollar has one more than Hayley Deegan, but Hayley Deegan does have that second place run at Daytona and a win for Drew Dollar on the Super Speedway of Talladega.
And this is not over yet. This Bounty Rookie Challenge is going to go down. Those 20 races count this year. It's going to go down to Kansas. I would give the slight edge to Drew Dollar because he raced at Kansas last year in our season finale, had one of the fastest cars in the property. This team's also run at Kansas Speedway in the middle of the season, replacing Chicagoland. So I think their notes are pretty strong. Drew Dollar finished 7th at Kansas. Hayley Deegan was her first time there. She finished 9th.
Brett Holmes closing in on 300 overall laps led in ARCA Menards Series competition. The green flag coming up next here at Memphis. Welcome back to the Sioux Chief Power Packs 200 at Memphis International Raceway for the ARCA Menards Series. I'm Bob Dillner, Jim Trado also in the booth. Drew Dollar having one of his best runs of the year. Let's try to talk to Drew Dollar.
Hey, Drew Dollar, Jim Trado in the MAV TV booth. Nice run to get the lead early. You threatened that you had a fast car to do that. Was that surprising to you to grab that lead early on over Ty Gibbs?
To be honest with you, I knew this Sunbelt Reynolds Camry was going to be really good. You know, it's got a ton of speed, and just there on the long run, we're just going easy. So we'll see what we have.
You were the first driver to tell me about the tire wear. How was the tire wear in this run, and what did you and your crew chief Shannon Rush do on this break to adjust the 15?
We made a little bit of adjustment to help us on the long run there. Tire wear is definitely huge, and I think some people underestimated that. But this summer, Reynolds camera is really good, and I think we'll be there at the end. I think we might have some things for the leader.
How soon do those tires just fall off the shelf on you? When do you lose all the grip on these cars?
I'd say about 15 laps, to be honest. We got some comers and goers in 15 laps.
10-4, thank you. We wish you well. It's Drew Dollar.
And just to clarify, I believe he said 15 laps.
Yeah, 15, not 50.
Oh, 18 of Ty Gibbs. He saved tires. I wonder what they learned. Let's check in with Dave Reeve on what they learned from that conservation mode in the first portion of this race.
Well, Bob, the man that makes those decisions is Mark McFarland. This is an example of what came off of his race car, but additionally, I know there were some changes made. So, Mark, what can you tell me about the tire experiment to start with, and what did you learn from looking at these General tires?
I don't know how long we've had that right rear trouble, but it, General Tire brings a great tire, so it either rubbed on something or it started coming apart there at the end. So we made some changes to tighten it up. We'll see if it helps.
Did you learn enough, though, what you wanted to as the car started to fall back, though, to make a run here late?
Yeah, I think so. I think Ty learned a lot, so we'll see. He'll apply it here.
Additionally, these guys also made a left rear spring change, like you mentioned, just trying to get Ty to feel a little bit more comfortable. So maybe it was an experiment, guys, gone a little bit awry there at the end of the first break, but still a lot of laps to come forward.
And that's interesting. A spring change on the 18. During normal pit stops, we would not see that. But these race breaks that ARCA has instituted this year gives the teams the abilities to make some big changes.
Yeah, 3 minutes is a long time. When you have the experience of a Mark McFarland, he knows what to put in that crash cart, they call it. He also knows what he wants to put on that race car and maybe try. They might try a different spring thinking, okay, plan A or plan B. Let's go plan B. If it works, great. We're on the button. We have that plan A in place. So that shock might have been something they were going to change depending on how this played out. Not just a mad rush to the truck to get that shock or spring. These guys are well prepared.
We just saw the 20 of Chandler Smith. He's running 10th, uncharacteristic for that JBL Audio number 20. Coming back to the green, Brett Holmes will lead that field back to the green flag. Drew Dollar alongside. The 21 of Sam Mayer is the car to keep an eye on right now. I believe the strongest car, with the exception of the 23 of Brett Holmes in the first half of the race.
See how Brett does on this restart. He spun the tires on the initial one and had to really work his way back forward.
Holmes, nice and slow. Dollar out in front a little bit. Little gamesmanship going right there, but Drew Dollar stays even with him. In fact, poked his nose out front just momentarily, wants to get to the bottom, can't do it. Opens up the door for Sam Mayer. Mayer rocketing into second. Good view from the General Tire camera of the gap between he and the 23 of Brett Holmes. Behind that, ferocious battles here at Memphis. Look at Dollar and look at Ty Gibbs. Dollar lost a lot of spots in that 15. Hayley Deegan was right behind him, so both rookies a little bit further back, and Ty Gibbs now charging strong to the inside of Michael Self. Now Gibbs up to third.
And Michael Self had about 1.5 inches to decide if he wanted to run behind the 18 or get passed by his teammate. He ducked in right in between both of them. Nice job by Michael Self getting ahead of that spot. The number 15 of Drew Dollar now under contest by Hayley Deegan to the inside. That black 4, she's running that wrap in the bottom there, dancing on that grass line to get that spot.
She's got the teeth out on the front end of that car and is going on the attack. Here comes the Monster Energy number 4 for Hayley Deegan, side by side with her rookie mate, Drew Dollar in the 15, and Deegan gets the spot. Now Deegan in 5th, trying to move by Michael Self. Thought about going to the inside.
And Chandler Smith is on fire right now. Did you say he started 10th in this restart? He's up to Hayley Deegan's inside now. He's inside of Deegan for this spot. He wants 5th. Wow, what a great start.
Oh, contact between Deegan and her rookie counterpart, Drew Dollar. Dollar spins in turn number 4. Those two have been Well, let's just say they've had some emotion in their battles this year. Remember the contact that led to Hayley Deegan into the wall earlier this year. Drew Dollar now the victim of contact between those two. Let's take a look. Dollar goes to the inside of Deegan. Deegan's coming down the track, and Gus Dean in the 32 was involved.
Dollar might have been right in the middle of where he shouldn't have been. He was actually trying to look inside of Hayley Deegan, but look at the rear bumper of the 15. The black number 32 of Gus Dean actually really triggered the whole deal. We thought it was just among two cars, but as Dean was trying to maintain position on the inside, Dollar was still on the outside coming down the racetrack. One more look here.
So there was contact you could see in this Auto Park It replay between the 32 and the 15, and then the 15 was trying to squeeze underneath Hayley Deegan in the 4, who was coming down the racetrack.
Great work by our Lucas Oil Productions crew to get all of that. I thought for sure it was just another run, like a Kentucky Speedway. These two were racing for top 5. Drew Dollar and Hayley Deegan, they made contact on the backstretch, ruined one of their days, and Drew ended up going on to finish well. So it just the whole idea of how this accordion has been working in the Bounty Rookie Challenge, actually Gus Dean had something to say about it this time.
Love this view right here. The Sioux Chief Showdown sticker on the back end of the pace car. This is Sean Stafford. Has him written all over right here, enabling us to get that view right there. There's Chris Wright, the road course ace, trying his hand at ARCA competition this year in the 22. He's in the top 10.
Nice job by Chris Wright. Again, racing this year under the GMS banner. Racing here with Chad Bryant Racing. He'll also race at Kansas, and I think he's running the ARCA West Series finale at Phoenix, so he's got a lot more time. He said, I want to get time. I want to get track time. I'm running a late model with Dale Pletcher. I'm doing all things I can to get some seat time, and Chad Bryant Racing had the opportunity to field him here, so good job by them. Hey, while we have this look, Bob, it says Sioux Chief Showdown. Big shout out to Joe Ismert. He gave us the command to start engines. He also really wanted to be here for this race because it is the Sioux Chief Power Packs 200, and he said, you know what, I've got a job I'm going on. I go on jobs when I can. So you think, oh, the CEO sits in the corner office. No, he's on a job site right now. He can't get to the race because he's still working this week on the job. So hey to Joe, sorry he couldn't make it to the race today.
What's interesting about the Sioux Chief team is they come to a bunch of the races in normal times in America, and they're always so passionate about the ARCA Menards Series brand. And the Sioux Chief product can be found at Menards. So it's a great marriage between those companies and this series.
I've got some floor drains in my basement that say Sioux Chief right on them. Great products as well. And then the passion they have and what ARCA has done on the marketing end of things and matching up Menards vendors, that's how we get to go racing around MAP. That's how we get the chance to put in-car cameras in these cars and really get you inside these race cars live on MAP TV, which is awesome for everybody.
Well, guess what? We're going green again here at Memphis. 87 laps complete. This might be the most crucial restart of the race so far for Brett Holmes because he has dominated. He's led the most laps so far. But now Sam Mayer lines up to the outside. Mayer in that 21 has been looking pretty good.
You mentioned battle for clean air here, too. If Brett can lead 20 or 30 more laps, he'll get that additional point for leading the most. Let's see what he does here.
Let's ride on board with Sam Mayer and the General Tire camera through this restart. Moves by, as does Hayley Deegan. That outside groove from the initial start right through the few restarts that we've seen has not been the place to be. Chandler Smith says, I'm going to create my own space. He almost went 3 wide there just momentarily, and a little bit of a bump between he and the 46 of Thad Moffat, who carries that Clean Packs camera.
Thad nearly lost it twice, once to try to get out of Chandler's way, and then again when he got into Michael Self because he was getting shoved by Chandler to get out of the way. Smith in that JBL Audio Toyota, man, he's got that black paint job for a reason. He is coming through like Earnhardt here into turn 1.
Chandler Smith has been a little bit frustrated as of late. He has not won since Lucas Oil Raceway when racing came back to the ARCA Menards Series during this pandemic. And since then, he's had some good runs, some bad runs. It's been up and down for Chandler Smith.
And he led the Sioux Chief Showdown well into the season. He was well back now in 5th after some poor performances. Right front sway bar issues happened twice on Sioux Chief Showdown races. Hit the wall hard at Bristol. That comes to mind as most recent. It's great to see him rebound here because we know how good he's been the last 2 years in this series, and up and through that Lucas Oil Raceway victory, he was going to be in contention to win this showdown title.
Side by side between the 17 of Taylor Gray and Michael Self in the Sinclair green and white car. Michael Self starting to fall back a little bit, just fell out of the top 5. Chandler Smith now in the top 5. Taylor Gray trying to take over 6 from Michael Self, and Taylor Gray has been learning at this racetrack all day long. And remember, we can't emphasize enough, the kid's only 15.
Brandon McReynolds and Taylor Gray spent a lot of time together. Brandon on the pit box today after qualifying, sitting with his young driver. He's been assigned the driver coach, and with Brandon's experience, racing at this level, racing at higher levels, son of Larry McReynolds, a championship crew chief, Daytona 500 winning crew chief, having all that experience helps him so quickly in development. He has a lot of things he asks questions to Brandon McReynolds. Brandon has either done it or will know the answer by talking to his peer group, one generation older than this 15-year-old.
Brandon McReynolds, a former winner in ARCA at Talladega.
Yep.
The 32 of Gus Dean, a former winner in ARCA as well, 2 times over, and a former winner here at Memphis. Gus Dean now in the top 10 here, actually just 1 spot out of a top 10. He just lost that spot just a moment ago. But Gus Dean trying to rebound here, has only run 1 other race on the short tracks this year in ARCA.
I thought you were going to tell me all about Brandon McReynolds winning the race at Talladega in the Wintron 32. Were you going there too?
That was an incredible performance. I remember watching that race as a fan. I wasn't part of the broadcast, and I've known the McReynolds family for a really long time. That family, Larry and Brandon, so happy that day.
And Larry McReynolds grew up like, what, 20 miles away,
Yes.
20 minutes away, 20 steps away from Talladega? That was a huge win for that family.
He always wears the Bear Bryant hat.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Hayley Deegan right there in the number 4 machine running in 3rd. But the driver that is charging the hardest right now is the 20 of Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith was a lap down just a couple of cautions ago, got that free pass, now back on the lead lap, and with a vengeance, racing his way into the top 5.
We know this team's good. We know Billy Venturini. They won the Owners' Championship last year. Chandler led more laps than anybody last year. We know how good this team can be. They just have found little issues, big issues, never happy with the race car, and they lost their confidence as a unit. Earlier this year, Chandler said, man, Billy and I are clicking like Harvick and Rodney Childers. We have it going on. Whatever I need, he already knows what I want. They lost their way a bit, whether it be part failure or track position. Not to mention the pace of Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer really had added another element they were not used to since they started racing ARCA together in 2018.
Just a couple of laps shy of the halfway point. Chandler Smith, just want to note, take a look at those stats right there. Simply impressive in his 3 years of competition here in ARCA. And this, we believe, will be his final ARCA Menards Series short track start. So he's hoping for that win today, but look at all those laps led along with the victories, 9 overall.
And he's not done yet. I mean, he's going to go to Kansas and try to lead every lap there. I think he's going to have a good chance to be a factor in this one. We saw how great he launched off this restart. That 50-lap sprinter, 45 laps, whatever it's going to turn out to be, he's going to be a contender. If he's on this pace and maintains leader's pace through this run, he and Billy Venturini will have something cooking, I'm sure, for these last 50.
Halfway through this one now, Ty Gibbs runs in 2nd, Hayley Deegan in 3rd, and Chandler Smith in 4th. But it's all Brett Holmes in a war for the championship with Michael Self leading halfway through this one. Let's check out the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap for the Suchi Power Pex 200 at Memphis International Raceway. Ty Gibbs, the General Tire Pole Award winner, lost that lead to the 15 of Drew Dollar, and then Brett Holmes took charge in the 23.
The inside line has been proven where it's supposed to be, and that's where Hayley wanted to be, but Drew Dollar was her inside. A little help from Gus Dean bringing out that second caution of the race.
So far in this race, 3 leaders. Ty Gibbs, Drew Dollar, and Brett Holmes. Several other drivers trying to climb through the field as well. We have had a few cautions in this one. But right now it's been a pretty clean race and a lot of anticipation of what's still to come, especially with the tire wear that we're seeing here today. We saw Ty Gibbs run conservative in the first part of this race. And then we saw Sam Mayer, who was really strong, charging his way from the rear of the field where he had to start when he had to change those 2 tires after qualifying. And now he's running in 4th, but he started on the outside of the front row after this last restart. So what's going on with that 21 right now, Dave?
Well, according to Marty Lindley, not too much is happening in terms of whether their car is great, whether their car is bad. It's a point in time right now where Sam is simply feeling this car out, doing maybe what the 18 team did a little bit ago, just taking it easy to see what they will have during this part of the run. Marty has no worries, though, with that 21 car. Whenever Sam Mayer is ready, we'll start coming back toward the front. So they say they're just playing a wait-and-see game at this point. Meanwhile, the 20 guys starting to get loose real quick. So Chandler Smith starting to give up positions again.
Sam Mayer just moved back by Chandler Smith, and now the 17 of Taylor Gray has moved by the 20 as well. So Chandler Smith outside the top 5. Michael Self, his teammate at Venturini Motorsports, just behind that. This race, we talk about the championships that are up for grabs here. The ARCA Menards Series with just a few races to go, the Sioux Chief Showdown. This is the championship race for it, but also the CGS Imaging 4 Crown. Michael Self taking over a spot for the 20 of Chandler Smith. So Self up to 6th, Chandler Smith back to 7th. But this is the 3rd race in that CGS Imaging 4 Crown.
Yeah, Michael Self finished 3rd at Michigan. He also won the race at Daytona Road Course. It shows the diversity of the series. So we go to a road course, we go to short track, we go to dirt track, we go to super speedway. That's been the mix since 1984 when Davey Allison won the CGS Imaging 4 Crown the first year we've done it. A lot of drivers have done it since. Brett Holmes won it last year on consistency, but this is a big deal. This race and then the next race that we're going to the Springfield Mile on Sunday, October 4th, that will determine who's going to win that CGS Imaging 4 Crown. So these are the points. It's really tight. It's all about race finishes. Drew Dollar hasn't shot at this yet, sitting back there in 4th, just 12 markers behind our race leader, or excuse me, the point standings leader.
Kevin Reed, the crew chief for Brett Holmes, Kathy Venturini, up on top of the box with him as they look at their driver trying to move his way back through the field. Right now, I'm sure he knows he's in 6th and Brett Holmes is leading this race. And next week, you mentioned the battle for the CGS Imaging 4 Crown, the final race next weekend in Springfield, Illinois on Sunday. We'll be there live with MAV TV, but it's a toss-up because remember, Michael Self, he won there last year, but Brett Holmes is a former dirt racer.
That was a Michael Self. What are you doing on the dirt, Michael? Oh, he won. He won. Hey, Brett Holmes finished 3rd in that race, too. He's not, that dirt background is going to come to fore with the confidence he has in 2020 as well next Sunday.
He's a former dirt late model driver, and it just goes to show you how important the ARCA Menards Series is and what the opportunity it gives people from all over America. Brett Holmes was a dirt racer, and now he's running for a championship in ARCA. Ty Gibbs running for the Sioux Chief Showdown Championship, but the problem is right now he needs to finish a few more spots ahead of Sam Mayer than he actually is right now, coming in 6 points behind, and it's only race points. Right now Gibbs is 2nd, Sam Mayer is 4th, but Hayley Deegan in the number 4 car is on the prowl again.
Ty Gibbs is going to race at Springfield for the first time on the dirt, and guess what? Hayley Deegan cannot wait till October 4th. She's eyeballing that dirt track. She won the Las Vegas dirt track last year in the West Series. Her dirt background, she won the pole position there too. She's very confident when it comes to the dirt, and she is excited as all get out to get to a track that she knows she has a great chance to win at. She hasn't had that feeling in a while here in the ARCA Menards Series. Next Sunday, she's had that one circled for a while.
She's won on the dirt in short course racing. She's won on the dirt in the series known formerly as the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West, but now the ARCA Menards Series West. And right now, looking, if she were to finish right here, it would be tied for her best short track finish of the season in 3rd.
And the points continue to add up on every layer, every level. Drew Dollar had that spin after contact with Hayley Deegan. He's trying to hang on to a top 10 run right now in this segment of the race. Hayley's moving forward. I'm really impressed. I thought Hayley would be going backwards like Chandler Smith was reportedly going backwards from Dave Reef's report about tires just getting burned off on the car. She's done a really nice job managing her tire wear to this point in the race.
Behind this monster pair is a monster driver this year for sure, Sam Mayer, with those victories. Right now running in 4th. And you heard that report from Dave Reef a while ago that Sam Mayer, the team, Marty Lindley, not worried. Right now, maybe doing exactly what Ty Gibbs did during the first portion of this race and sort of just riding.
And we're at that critical moment, Bob. We're about 40 laps into this run. The race will have an automatic timeout with about 45 laps in it when we go back to green. So these next 5-6 laps, there's a lot of radio chatter we'll be hearing about what the car is doing now. What are you feeling now? Well, looking at the speed rundown, Brett Holmes has a sizable lead right now. That team has not done a lot of work, but I'm guessing the other teams might put some pretty big swings into those rear window adjustment holes.
Here's what's interesting, just to show you how strategy can play out here. Where do you want to start on a restart?
Inside.
Right. So Sam Mayer maybe doesn't want to pass both Hayley Deegan, and Ty Gibbs. Maybe he just wants to work his way by Deegan to get into third to start on that inside groove after the next race break. Now we're still 27 laps or so before that next race break, but I'm sure Marty Lindley is thinking about that.
And one other element we have to bring up is the experience on the pit box of Marty Lindley. We heard him at the very beginning of the show. That experience can help a driver a ton. Having Lauren Ranier as a spotter, as Sam Mayer does for this race, working with Marty, they literally have their own channel as they talk to each other about how to strategize. Lauren Ranier, no doubt, is reminding his young driver, hey, if you run here, if you settle into there, this is where you restart. That's already been discussed, and I'm sure reminding that young 17-year-old driver, Sam Mayer from Franklin, Wisconsin, this is where you need to be to win the Sioux Chief Showdown. And by the way, he's got one more race to back up his ARCA East Championship of a year ago in Pensacola in a few weeks' time. So this kid, this team's on a roll. They are in the right mindset, and I give a lot of credit to Lauren Ranier and Marty Lindley getting that team on the right page. Not a lot of crew member changeover, getting that experience behind that young driver and doing so well.
Deegan starting to lose the nose on that Ford in the number 4 up front. How about this? Brett Holmes, when we say domination, it's not an overstatement. 7.5 is the difference between first and second. Brett Holmes, 126 laps into this race, is in control, to say the least. The Sioux Chief Showdown is a series within a series. Austin Terrio, the champion, back in 2017, then Sheldon Creed, and then last year, Christian Eckes. Here's a trivia question for you. What do all three of those drivers, in terms of their Sioux Chief Showdown championship, have in common with each other in terms of the overall championship?
They won in the years they won the Sioux Chief Showdown. We mentioned the Sioux Chief Showdown had been a short track challenge. Now we've added in the Daytona Road Course. We've added in Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway, a 1.25 mile oval. The designated races as things went on this season really showcased a lot of great short tracks and also a lot of great talent and finishes. And we're talking about just 9 races in this 10-race schedule, and we're really tight in points. Only 6 points separate Ty Gibbs, who's running second on the racetrack, and Sam Mayer running fourth. So we're talking about the race within is also about the Sioux Chief Showdown Championship again, because those two drivers are in the top 5. Mayer started in the back, if you recall, at the start of this one and made his way forward.
Dave Reef, Brett Holmes simply looks like a superhero so far today.
He certainly does, Bob, and with 116 laps led now, nobody can take that away from him. So another bonus point. Yes, it's the Sioux Chief Showdown finale, but with only less than three races now left in that championship chase, that's 2 bonus points that Brett Holmes has added in the 23. And with the change in position, who knows what perhaps point lead Brett Holmes will have walking out of here. But as far as his race car goes, I asked Shane Huffman, I said, would you give your car on a 1 to 10 scale? Where would it be now? An 8, a 9, or is it a 10? He shrugged his shoulders and went, it's about a 7. So there may be some wiggle room left in a car that's already been so dominant today.
Everybody, I wish you could have seen our booth camera right now, because as Dave Reef was given that report, Jim Trado has his pen out, his eraser. He's doing the math right here. We know by leading a lap and also leading the most laps, that's 2 points. They came in 3 points between first and second. So we know by virtue of those laps led and the total laps led, right now Brett Holmes has gained 2 spots. But what is the overall math right now as Brett Holmes sits in first?
It's 1 point per position in the finishing order. We have Brett's 2 bonus points. There's also 3 points given to the race winner. So you add those factors in, it's a 6-point swing for Brett Holmes to walk out of here into the Springfield Mile and the Kansas Speedway with that victory. So if you're looking at where they're running now, It's 6 points. Again, this is a pencil, not a pen. It's going to be erased at any point because somebody could be lighting me up right now going, Jim, here's the other factors. But as I'm scribbling and watching this awesome race, I think it's a 6-point swing to the good for Brett Holmes, our race leader.
I love Jim's passion for the ARCA Menards series. He was sitting up here trying to work that math right there, just as the 18 of Ty Gibbs is trying to work his way around Chris Wright.
Wright's done a nice job. He's going a lap down here to these guys, but in reality, he has very little oval experience. And when you come to a brand new track, that's every day for Chris Wright. He's not been to a track he's been on yet, except for the Daytona Road Course, where he made his NASCAR Gander Trucks debut for GMS Racing. It's interesting to see how he's able to mesh with Paul Andrews and car owner Chad Bryant and getting comfortable on these ovals in a big way and a quick way as well.
Look who's a lap down again. Chandler Smith charged hard, got up into the top 5, and now he's fallen way back again. He's off the lead lap. Let's go to Dave.
Very nervous moment 1 lap ago coming off of turn 4 onto the front stretch as Brett Holmes tried to navigate past that 20. Chandler Smith making that JBL audio car as wide as he possibly could. I did see a big time wiggle out of the 23. So Jim, make sure that's a pencil.
It's a pencil, but it also has an elephant memory that just clicked in for me that at I-44 Speedway.
Remember that?
Brett Holmes was leading. Chandler Smith had an issue, was 2 laps down, and Brett ran him down hard, and Chandler was not happy with the way Brett dumped him into turn 1. It was one of those, hey, I'm leading, let me get through. Chandler raced him hard, a couple laps down. That might have been Chandler's way of saying, you're not going to pass me easy at any point in 2020 after that brush run.
Well, he's also a Venturini Motorsports teammate, and the battle for the championship is between the 23 and a Venturini Motorsports car, Michael Self. Let's check this out with the Auto Park It replay. Watch the 20 coming off of turn number 4. Maybe gets a little bit higher.
Oh, he gassed it right there. Oh, he gassed it hard to stay ahead of the 23.
Got a little bit loose coming off the corner, and that kept the 23 at bay for just a second or two.
And really, Brett could not exhale or inhale at that moment. He had to hold his breath because who knows what Chandler might have done and pinch him in turn 2, getting into that sod. It's a dangerous spot on the racetrack. Clean run there, but Chandler got sideways in front of our leader just to say, hey, remember? I do.
By the way, we saw Ty Gibbs walk into this track earlier today, was holding a notebook, and on separate occasions, both you and me asked him, what's the notebook for? And I think that's really interesting because he's a student of the game, and Mark McFarland has him keep a notebook with the details of the racetrack, what the cars do, so that way the next time he goes here, he can actually have that knowledge.
And Ty has the opportunity to race in other divisions. He's raced in the ARCA Menards Series West this year and the East, going for an East Championship there. He's also raced in the SCCA Trans Am THU category on road courses. I mean, there's a lot of different places he gets to get the experience. So when he goes in the mindset of what do I do for this race, he can look at last year's notes. He finished second here in this race last year in the ARCA Menards Series 150 lapper.
Battle for third, no more. Sam Mayer able to pick up the spot on Hayley Deegan. Mayer strong to the inside. That was a great shot from our General Tire onboard camera. And right now, he's closing in on the 18 of Ty Gibbs, and we know those two have just a little bit of a rivalry this year.
There's a notebook full of history there just in this year, and they're racing for victories. 9 times those drivers have finished in the top 3 in just 20 ARCA Menards Series starts, dating back to the start of the 2019 season. Just this series. We're not talking about the West or the East or road courses in the THU category, where they've raced against each other there as well.
This rivalry between the 18 and the 21 began last year. Let's take a look at how that rivalry has brewed here in the ARCA Menards Series. Sam Mayer trying to stalk the 18 of Ty Gibbs. We're going to stay right here because Mayer has caught him quicker than we thought he was going to, but will he want to pass him before the next race break in just a few laps?
I'm doing the math in my head, Bob. I'm going to say he doesn't want to pass him, but he certainly wants to make sure he's uncomfortable here with where he's racing on the track. Maybe push him a little bit further on the limits of what that black 18 wants to give right now. Both drivers off of turn 4 that time. A bit of a tug on the wheel to try to get it square again. These cars are running on the ragged edge right now. So if Sam can put pressure on Ty Gibbs, not passing him, but pressure him to use up more of that car, perhaps overdrive a corner or two, get a false read on what that tire is giving him. That could be a big difference later in the race.
I mentioned how it began last year between these two. This was Gateway.
Last lap.
Little tussle on the last lap. Mayer was going for his first win. Ty Gibbs got it. This was at Toledo earlier this year. And then back to Gateway. That was late in the race, and then Dover in an E-Series race.
And this was a great move. Sam Mayer got to the back bumper of Ty Gibbs. I didn't think they touched, but after looking at it again, it was really, really close. And Sam Mayer went on to win that race at Dover, and now he has a commanding lead in the ARCA Menards Series East, headed to Pensacola.
We're right at that lap 150 mark. We're waiting for the next race break and that yellow to fly. By the way, Ty Gibbs, you noticed during our conversation with him today, whenever he mentioned Sam Mayer, he didn't mention him by name, just car number.
Yeah, he said 21. Yeah, being in the 21 do this, 21 and I do that. It's a matter of probably staying in that mindset of who do I have to beat? Who are my combatants on the racetrack? He said he doesn't have many friends. He doesn't really care to have many friends, does Ty Gibbs. He's so focused on what he has to do. And he said, I'm not going to be outworked. No one's going to work harder at doing this than I. And between Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs, I mentioned the last 5 races in the ARCA Menards Series, they split the victories there. Sam Mayer was not at Winchester, and Ty Gibbs just absolutely laid one on him last Sunday to lead almost every lap there to win.
Final race break of this Sioux Chief PowerPex 200 at Memphis International Raceway. One more round of adjustments for all these teams. Can anybody challenge Brett Holmes for the win today?
The ARCA Menards Series is brought to you by Auto Park It. The future of parking is here. See it at autoparkit.com. Richmond Water Heaters, the water heater experts. Hers, forever good. And by Sioux Chief, America's manufacturer of plumbing, drainage, supply, and support products.
Brett Holmes cut his teeth on the short tracks, first on the dirt, and then in late models on the pavement at tracks like Montgomery Motor Speedway and Five Flags Speedway. But he's never won on a short track in ARCA.
He tackled the ARCA Menards Series full-time in 2017, finished 6th in points. Got a sniff at 2nd in the points last year, is only their full season as of late. Finished 3rd in the points. What I love to see is the maturation of Brett Holmes on every size track and every kind of track. I really like the fact that he's matured here in the ARCA Menards Series. We've seen a lot of drivers come to this series and learn. Sheldon Creed comes to mind. 2018 champ, 2nd in the points right now on the Gander trucks. I mean, it's really cool to see how drivers progress racing in this series at all the different racetracks.
Speaking of a driver who has progressed nicely, Chandler Smith, 3 years in the ARCA Menards Series, 9 victories. This is his final short track start, we believe, in the ARCA Menards Series, and he will leave a big legacy in ARCA, but he still has plenty to prove in his career.
Where I'd like to be is to make a huge impact on the racing world, kind of like what Earnhardt honestly did, where people remembered me as being different from every other race car driver. I like to be different. I like to do things a lot differently than anybody else and making my way work, because I feel if you don't have confidence in yourself or in what your driving ability can do, there's no reason for you to show up at the racetrack as it is. So it's like that with anything in life, though. If you're confident about what you're going to do, you're going to go out there and get it no matter what the cost is.
Chandler Smith dominates in the shadows of Indianapolis to capture his 2nd in a row at Lucas Oil Raceway.
I've just been always surrounded by great people, and I've learned off that, and I've built off that, and I've taken their good advice and taken everything with a grain of salt. And Toyota's been a big help to me. They've always been able to put me in great places with great people, and just always I've found if I surround myself with great people, I usually have great outcomes. And that's what I would really like to be remembered of, is just be successful at always what I do. Hopefully, like you said, one day get the Cup, but win championships. And like I said, I would just really like to make my own stance for what I've done.
Chandler Smith running 8th here today, but man, this kid has a bright future.
And he's running the remainder of the Cobblish Motorsports truck team this year. We mentioned he finished 5th last night in Las Vegas, made the run here. Everything but Kansas will have his name above the door, that number 51 truck for Cobblish Motorsports in the NASCAR Gander trucks, where I believe he'll be headed full-time next year. It's been a great run in ARCA. No question for this young driver. Proves speed at every opportunity.
He's still on the lead lap, but he's got a long way to go to challenge Brett Holmes today. Under 50 to go in the Sioux Chief PowerPex 200 for the ARCA Menards Series at Memphis. Crucial restart here. Brett Holmes to the inside, Ty Gibbs to the outside. The interesting move, As we go on board with our General Tire camera, Sam Mayer will line up in third. Will he be able to get by the man that he's battling with for the Sioux Chief Championship, Ty Gibbs, who's on the outside of the front row? Close-quartered racing at Memphis. Brett Holmes gonna lose the lead to Ty Gibbs.
No one was able to do it till right now. Take that outside run and get the lead on a restart at Memphis. Ty Gibbs was able to do it. Sam Mayer had to worry about hanging on to third there as Hayley Deegan was putting pressure on that driver we rode along on that restart.
Thad Moffat to the inside of point leader Michael Self. 46 and 25, battling for sixth. On board with the Clean Packs camera, he's able to get the spot over Michael Self. So Self back in seventh where he started this race.
With this short run to the finish, Thad really has to step it up and close the gap into this top five. I believe this Clean Packs onboard is going to give us a good look here, but he needs to shorten that gap between his front bumper and what we're seeing out the front windshield, the rear bumper, Taylor Gray's number 17-4.
You still got to wonder, though, how hard can you charge now in a 50-lap run? These runs prior to this have been 75 laps. People learned a lot there, both the teams as well as the drivers. But this one is a little shorter than that 75-lap run that we saw before the first two race breaks. Ty Gibbs, how fast does he go? Does Brett Holmes try to apply some pressure so the 18 burns up his tires?
Gibbs wants this one bad. You can tell by how hard he chased him on that restart. I was listening to Sam Mayer's radio during the race break. They were almost in the mode of saying, where do we need to be to win the Sioux Chief Showdown? They were almost conceding this race to Brett Holmes. Not Ty Gibbs with his actions here on this restart, leading the number 23. Hey, Brett Holmes took the lead on lap 19 and held it until this restart where Ty got the good jump and now is gapping him by a couple of car lengths.
Dave Reeve, that was an interesting restart. What can you tell us?
Well, Bob, I can tell you for the second consecutive time, there were major changes done in the pits to the 18 car. Mark McFarland had that monster team car all the way jacked up, changing the left springs again. And then as soon as they got done making all of their changes, boy, I'll tell you what, the cheerleading that I heard going on, telling Ty just how good a job he's done based on what they're seeing from the tires, based on what they're seeing from the lap times. They said, you have already run a hell of a race. Now you have to go as hard as you can. We think you got your car exactly the way you like it. So go out there and get that lead, and that's exactly what they've done. But twice, guys, two spring changes on the left rear, and yet the 18 finds its way back to the front.
And yet you have the 23 of Brett Holmes, who's been dominant, now running in second. Is this a frustrating position for Brett Holmes to be in right now, running in second after such a good race?
Brett not needing a worry because he had a 15 or some second lead at the end of that second segment of the race. I wouldn't want to change a whole lot if I had that dominant of a car. It could have come down to just the simple gear ratio off of turn number 4. That Ty had a better car that came to life with that left rear spring change. I feel that they didn't want to change a lot. This is their primary short track car. This is the car they trust. Shane Huffman and his driver have on the same page all season long. To answer your question even further, I don't think they were expecting the 18 to be on the outside that strongly. And it might have taken Brett a lap or two once Ty got by him to go, okay, now do I need to do to get back after it? And he can't catch that 18 right now. What a great run and a great call by Mark McFarland. Changing those springs could be just the voice change in Ty Gibbs. What do I need? I need a little more drive off. That's what he kept saying over practice the last couple of race weekends that I've listened to his radio. Mark McFarland knows what's in his box, and he knows that if he does this, it reflects directly on what Ty likes in a race car.
It was a muscle move indeed. In fact, it was so strong. Let's take a look at it with our Auto Park It replay of how Ty Gibbs on that restart took the lead from Brett Holmes. Keep an eye on the 21. This is going down the backstretch. And watch Ty kind of go into the corner. Brett Holmes dives it in there, but Ty stays even with him. And that run up off the corner right there, that was key, the entrance to turn 3.
And I thought Ty was actually too deep in the corner. When he went wide by 3 or 4 feet on Holmes, I thought, oh, that's it. But no, Ty gassed it, and that car stuck. That was an impressive run by this young 17-year-old.
That onboard camera from Sam Mayer was a great look with the General Tire camera there of the top two going at it for the lead. I could have sworn, as we see Sam Mayer now running third, I could have sworn Ty, 3/4 of the way down the backstretch, almost got that car pitched sideways a little bit to try to pivot his way into turn 3.
And I think Brett Holmes will receive an Emmy nomination for the latest act of getting into the restart line. He was waiting a really long time. We're not at Hickory, but it certainly felt like one of those restarts. Started all in the front stretch, boys. No, that was a late restart. Light go on the gas pedal by Brett Holmes to stay in the lead.
And listen, as a driver, you're going to do whatever you can do to try to play those games to get an advantage. Sam Mayer not able to keep pace, though. Ty Gibbs leading, Brett Holmes second. But if Mayer finishes third or better, the Sioux Chief Showdown Championship will be his. He's got the best average finish so far this year at 2.7.
Yeah, his amazing run to these points after finishing 20th at Phoenix, as we talked about earlier. Just an amazing, consistent domination the second half of the season. His crew chief, Marty Lindley, also reminded this young driver during that race break, keep an eye on the big picture. We need to know where the 18 is. If we get into second or third, he needs to beat us by 7 places on the racetrack. So keep that in mind, is what he told his young driver. As much as Sam Mayer wants to win every race and lead every lap, Marty was thinking, hey guys, this is what we need to do to win this thing. He said it with Harrison Burton at Dover 3 years ago when he won the East Championship. Harrison won that race. Last year, Sam Mayer was on Marty Lindley's team. They won that Dover race as well. So I think Marty's got a really good handle on telling Sam when to conserve a little bit, when to live with what you have, and when to go. And right now, I think he was thinking Brett Holmes might have been the guy to concede the race too. Not Ty Gibbs, but I think that keeping in sight might be more important to Sam Mayer now than challenging and burning off those tires at this point.
And look at who's back in the top 5. He's like a yo-yo, up and down and all over the top 10. Talking about Chandler Smith, now up into 5th. There's Marty Lindley, the crew chief for Sam Mayer. And Marty Lindley has actually had some experience as a driver here at Memphis back in the old Pro Cup days.
Marty is a very smart guy, and he's got some really good, dedicated crew members. 2018 worked with Zane Smith, who's also in the NASCAR Gander Trucks playoffs after a couple of wins this year. Working with a really smart group of people, that's exactly what GMS Racing wanted when Sam Mayer came to that team. They built that team around Marty and Sam Mayer, their driver. That'll change next year. Sam is pretty much going to go Xfinity Series racing with Junior Motorsports. And I think he might have an eyeball on maybe doing some more truck races with GMS Racing this year and next.
Less than 30 laps to go in the Sioux Chief PowerPex 200 at Memphis. Mayer, don't think he's just hanging out, saving himself for the end. Listen, he could prove us wrong for sure, but look at the huge gap right now, about 3 seconds from Brett Holmes, who resides in second, back to third place running Sam Mayer in the 21.
And Sam's not used to running back here. I mean, it's been so good for so long. It does not matter what that team has done the last 5, 6, 7 races. They went those big, huge wins at Bristol. The confidence he had there, racing in the East Series in a given day, winning at, pretty much winning every other time out in the last 2 years, and winning that championship and leading the points now. This is a different spot for this team to be in. I have to give credit though. Ty Gibbs, this car has not fallen off. There's his crew chief, Mark McFarland. They made that call. Mark said, let's throw that other spring on it. They have such good notes, and Mark has such a detailed effort. He also won the East Series a couple of years ago at Bend Road. So I think in terms of racing for championships, it's more than just how many short track races can we run with these young drivers. They have a lot of experience managing the points, managing where their car is. And boy, give credit to Mark McFarland. Their pit box is nowhere near their hauler in the infield here at Memphis, and they have the right equipment on that box to make this 18 good on that second race break.
Mark McFarland, the crew chief for the 18. The crew chief for the 23 is Shane Huffman. They've worked together here in the ARCA ranks the past couple of years. The 23 now in second, Dave Reef.
23 being urged right now by their crew chief. Hit your marks, focus, find that rhythm. You have a fast car. The 18 has suddenly become as fast as us, but they're encouraging him that you can pass him. But what you have to do, and what they continue to tell him, don't overdrive the car. Don't push it too hard going into the corners. Hit your marks. Don't get too wound up by the 18 being in front of you. Just be perfect as you can. And they think the 23 could possibly be there at the end.
He could be there. but he's not going to want to put his car in a precarious position because he's battling for a championship. And I'm sure he knows that he's got several spots over Michael Self, who runs 8th. Drew Dollar, who led early, now running 9th, a lap down. So I'm sure a little bit of a disappointing run for Drew Dollar as he continues to contend with Hayley Deegan for this Bounty Rookie Challenge.
Drew led laps at Talladega, has had struggles on the short tracks, finished 6th at Winchester. Really, that's his first finish on a short track this year. Lap 84 in this race, he got in contact with a little help from behind by Gus Dean, knocked into Hayley Deegan, his Bounty Rookie Challenge combatant, and he's had to struggle and soldier on here. Shannon Rush, though, never stops working on that pit box for Drew Dollar. Right, Dave?
He absolutely doesn't. In fact, Shannon Rush telling Drew Dollar, hey, you did a good job in that spin over there. Never heard that before. You did a good job of keeping your car moving in the right direction, staying in the gas as long as he did, being able to keep that tire from flat spotting on that car. They were not able, or they did not come to the pit, did not change tires. So that's, gotta say, that's the first one, though. You spun out, but you spun out well. It's at least keeping the 15 in the fight today.
So Drew Dollar, 1 lap down in 9th. It'll be a top 10 run for him if he's able to complete the final 20 laps here. Clean packs onboard camera for Thad Moffat. Moffat runs in 7th. Just in front of him is the 17 of Taylor Gray, the Cannon Filters hard charger of the race so far in this one, up 3 spots. But Taylor Gray, I'm sure he's going to be a little bit disappointed because he wants to contend for a victory, especially after so many good runs this year.
And we can hear you can hear the gas pedal, and Thad Moffat's got a really nice job here. You see the brakes getting a little cherry red on the front end. He did tell me, though, he said he's so excited to bring this new sponsor, Clean Packs, to the ARCA Menards series. He said if you go to cleanpacks.com and type in the code TM, his initials, TM46, you get half off your first order of those cleaning products that are really money and energy saving. So they're eco-friendly. He's excited to have them represented here in this race. But he said, man, if I could have a good run, I'd love to have them involved with more races here with Thad Moffat and this DGR Crosley team.
Looking at the line that Taylor Gray is running from the Clean Packs camera here. And Taylor Gray is starting to back up his corner just a little bit. That car may be having trouble turning in the center of the corner. He's able to keep it on the bottom, and it looks like he might even have just a little bit of damage to the front end of that machine. But Gray has been very strong. 10 starts, 7 of them have resulted in top 5 finishes.
And he's excited to go to the dirt track. He's going to Springfield Mile for the first time. He hasn't run on the dirt since he ran Millbridge karts way back when. Probably age 12. That's what, 3, 4 years. That's a third of a lifetime ago for him.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. But I really like the fact that I think we're going to see him back in the ARCA Menards series. He wouldn't tell me much, but I said, are you coming back to ARCA next year? This week I chatted with him on a Zoom call. I said, yeah, I'll be back in ARCA. And I love the fact that he now knows these racetracks. He's been through this. He's had the option to work with Blake Brainbridge, who worked with Ty Gibbs for 6 races last year on this platform. There's a lot of notes he can take advantage of from that veteran crew chief and how he's able to bond with this team. His brother Tanner's doing pretty good on the truck side as well at DGR, bagging another 3rd place finish last night in Vegas. So I think they're pretty happy with the progress. I'm happy we're going to see Tanner Gray and Taylor Gray racing at a long time to come in these higher levels. And boy, this kid is just super impressive again, isn't he? Keeping that car on the bottom, keeping the tires underneath him. Taylor Gray is putting on a show again today.
When I think about 2021 and I hear Taylor Gray might be with us, and Ty Gibbs has given us some hints that he's coming back as well. Who knows, maybe competing for a championship. I believe they want him to get bigger track experience because he's still 17. Next Sunday, he turns 18 when we're in Springfield, Illinois. This gentleman, 29 years old, going for a championship in the ARCA Menards series for the 2nd straight year, Michael Self. But he's seeing that lead evaporate today. He runs in 8th. If we were to finish the race right now, Michael Self would lose that point lead.
I think it'd be like 3 points to the Brett Holmes swing because of the laps led and most laps led. If they're running now and this is how they finish, I think it's going to be a swap. 3 points ahead for Holmes, 3 points behind Self, head to the dirt track in Springfield, Illinois.
And this was the key coming in. 3 points behind Michael Self was Brett Holmes. Again, just to clarify, Brett Holmes has led the most laps. That's a point. He's also led a lap. That there is a point as well. And then it's a point per position And right now, Holmes is second and Self is 8th.
And I think that's another reason Brett Holmes might have been caught surprised a bit. I thought maybe that 3-point bonus for winning the race might have been factoring into what they did or did not change on their car with that lap 50 to go race break. So that could be another reason why the thought process was, man, we can really put it to them. Don't change a lot on the car. Do what we need to do to stay ahead of this Sinclair Lubricants Toyota.
To the inside of the 17 goes Thad Moffat. Moffat, very good run. Hoping to maybe move into the top 5. This is a battle for 6th.
Thad turned 20 years of age on September 12th, and he would love to race his teammate Taylor Gray next year full-time in the ARCA Menards Series, racing side by side with him here. He said our driving styles are similar. He and Thad and Taylor, excuse me, as Thad was telling me this, he said Hayley's driving style is not as comparable. We don't have as many notes that we can share. So if these crews are going at it with the equal cars, Thad's showing he can hang out with his 15-year-old that's been so impressive this year. Good run by Thad Moffat here in the Clean Packs Ford.
Look at those brake rotors glowing on the Clean Packs number 46, both on the right front and the left front.
Taylor does not race by rubbing on someone. He said, I want to race you hard. I can run you 10, 15, 20. He said, I love racing 50 laps side by side at short tracks. He did that at Hickory for a full season in late model stocks at age 13. So for him to do this and race his teammate, if his teammate's got a better car, he gave him a line to run there. And Thad proved right now he's got the superior Ford in the 46.
Under 10 to go in this one. Moffat now up to 6th. But up front, look at those brake rotors are glowing. Wow. Hard on the brakes has been Thad Moffat. But Ty Gibbs, he's also got some brake rotors glowing late in the stages here. We asked him about that earlier today.
He likes to get on the brakes but not squeeze them too hard. He said, I don't stab them, I just kind of ease on them. So into turn 1 here, we'll see them glow. And I love the fact they're glowing because we can see exactly when he's on the brake pedal. Right here, he wants to get back.
Oh, no. Taylor Gray. Some contact, maybe a left rear tire down on that Ford. He brings out the caution with 7 laps to go in the Sioux Chief PowerPex 200.
He was pushing it hard, racing his teammate Thad Moffat for that position. We were all over it. He unfortunately had a tire issue at Winchester as well, where he corded a right rear tire under a long green flag run. I wonder if things just gave up in the wear department because how hard he was running to hold on to that position, racing for 6th.
Drew Dollar will get back on the lead lap. He is the free pass car, so that will help him. He was in 9th, but a lap down. The first car a lap down. Drew Dollar back on the lead lap, but that left rear tire, a problem on the 17 Ford for Taylor Gray.
Likely have to put a tire back on that was in the race earlier. No fresh tires left there. You can only change those fresh tires under the race brakes.
The key is to get to that pit stall as well before that tire doing any damage to the left rear.
Yep, we've got inner fender liners. It's a composite body, but really everything else is comparable to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, NASCAR Cup Series, and the contents and the guts under the fiberglass and composite components of those bodies. So keeping that for sure clean, and keeping that tire inner liner, even with these few laps left, will be huge for this car to handle. We know he can wheel it. We'll see what he can get here to get back to the top 6 if time allows. Under this caution, they can change that tire because it's down. They can only add fuel on the cautions outside the race brake, not tires.
I'm still amazed by the pass that Ty Gibbs performed on Brett Holmes to get the lead. Gibbs now leads, and under this caution, they count the laps. We're down to 5 to go right now, but let's take a look at that one more time on the power move for Ty Gibbs to grab this lead here at Memphis. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get it for you right here. Now there it is real quickly, just an outside maneuver by the 23 of Brett Holmes down to the backstretch in turn 3 and coming up to the front straightaway.
I don't know if anyone else at this point with the worn tires will be able to even match that. So Brett Holmes is actually in a disadvantaged position. He's going to have to start outside of Ty Gibbs. Ty, no question, will start on the bottom. And it's really going to prove to be where if Sam Mayer can hold position behind Ty Gibbs, Brett Holmes might be back in the clutch of Michael Self when this restart unfolds if he's stuck on the outside too long. Self is 3 rows back on the inside.
And Sam Mayer still has another shot on the inside here.
Yep.
And that Love Fund on the hood of that race car.
Kevin Love is the 5-time NBA All-Star for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the power forward center. And his fund is one of the many that Sam has been able to put on his race car. And for that team to highlight different NBA and NFL players, charities, and their foundations, it's the Kevin Love Fund, and it really strives to inspire people to live their healthiest lives while providing tools to achieve physical and emotional well-being. That means they're taking a lot of their money and putting it towards the community where they live, where they play, and towards people to enrich their lives. And it's great to see them highlighted on the 21 today.
Who's going to get it done at Memphis? Ty Gibbs leading the field back to the green. Brett Holmes saw him. The 18 take the lead last time. Holmes slips up a little bit, maybe spun those tires, and now side by side for third is Sam Mayer, and the 4, Holmes slides high.
Hayley Deegan was really aggressive. She got into the back of Brett Holmes on that restart coming off of turn 4. That got Brett's attention. He could not hold the bottom. We thought for sure he could slide in between these two teenagers. Wasn't able to hold the bottom. Now loses second spot to the car we're riding with in Sam Mayer.
Sam Mayer moves up one position to second. Brett Holmes now in third. The battle is for fourth. Chandler Smith on the inside of the 4 of Hayley Deegan.
Oh, and Hayley likes to be aggressive. She loves the idea that if the outside has any kind of grip, she's going to find it. Chandler Smith feels the same on the bottom now, trying to advance forward. The black and white number 20 of Smith on the move to the inside of Hayley now.
The championship picture changing as well. Michael Self trying to get back into the top 5. Run 6, 1 lap to go in this one.
Ty Gibbs is racing hard not to be anywhere near the front bumper of Sam Mayer because he's going to put...
Contact between Chandler Smith and Hayley Deegan. And here comes Self in the middle of a 3-wide battle. He's the point leader coming into this one. Then Moffat picks up a couple of spots. Ty Gibbs at the top of this brigade. He wins at Memphis. Ty Gibbs now 6 wins strong in the ARCA Menards Series this year. Michael Self finishes in 6th. Just squeezing by Hayley Deegan. A wild finish here with championship implications at Memphis.
Multi-layered championship. Sioux Chief Showdown. It came down to this young driver, Ty Gibbs, in that restart to get the lead and get the victory. Only race finish points count, so he always gained 1 point on Sam Mayer. So Sam Mayer has won the Sioux Chief Showdown Championship. But Ty putting a statement here, winning again on the short tracks in ARCA.
Ty Gibbs wins the race, but Sam Mayer the war in the Sioux Chief Showdown. As Ty Gibbs does a burnout down the front stretch here at Memphis, Sam Mayer, by virtue of his second place run, will be crowned the Sioux Chief Showdown champion. And there is the flag, the championship flag for Sam Mayer out of Wisconsin. A celebration for Joe Gibbs Racing. Ty Gibbs, 6 wins now in 2020 for that 17-year-old, at least for a week. Let's go down to Victory Lane with Dave Reef.
I think you could tell from the reaction climbing out of the car how special this one. Ty, there are wins that come easy, and then there are wins like today. You had to work your tail off for that one. This one means a bunch.
Yeah, this means a lot. We really struggled on car there, and my guys worked hard. We didn't give up, and we came out with the win. We beat all these guys out here, so it was definitely worth it. And it was a hard one. We had to work for it, but we never gave up. We were the best car at the end, as you could tell. So it was a fun time, and thank you, Tennessee.
Your crew chief talked about you and the maturity that you have gained throughout this year. If you go back 6 months ago, do you think that you would have been able to win this race 6 months ago?
Yeah, I feel like I definitely probably would have a shot, but I want to win worse than anybody out here, anybody in this whole deal, and I feel like I work as hard as I can because I want to be the best. And
I guess I want to know how you stayed so damn composed. You really did.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just my sponsor Mitch sent me a good message this morning, kept me motivated. So I'm just very excited. A lot of emotions right now, but we're in victory lane.
I think there's a special guy who wants to congratulate you. He's right back here. You got a little time for him? Slide on back here. You got a very happy grandfather. Congratulating you.
Coach Joe Gibbs, the fist bump for his grandson. Joe has tried to come to as many of these ARCA Menards Series events all year long to see his grandson go after victories.
And he's here in support of his grandson. He does everything he possibly can to support Ty. And Ty, I know the assurance of having his grandfather there. I mean, he's raced with a team that wants to win badly. I think his grandfather helps him keep him grounded and keep him focused on what's the big picture. And Joe is so faith-based as well, keeping Ty with the ability to say, this is what you need to do, what'd you learn today. That's great to have him here.
Let's check out the overall results in this one because they have plenty of implications. The Sioux Chief Showdown Championship goes to Sam Mayer by virtue of his second place run. Just a couple of points now separate Brett Holmes and Michael Self. Brett Holmes is the new overall point leader for the ARCA Menards Series.
Unofficially, by him finishing third, Brett Holmes now has a 2-point lead with 2 races left. Michael Self finished 6th today. Somehow Chandler Smith finished 5th. And how about Thad Moffat? Where did he come from?
Thad Moffat with
great
Chandler
race.
Smith, Michael Self, Hayley Deegan all got into it. Thad Moffat said, hey, I see a clean racetrack, and he went for it. His third top 5 finish of the year. Let's go down to Dave Reef, who's with the champion of the Sioux Chief Showdown.
And it has been a very incredible year for Sam Mayer, from getting that first truck win to doubling up in Bristol to all the wins this year. You didn't win the battle tonight, but that's a unique trophy to take home, a flag, the Sioux Chief Showdown champion. What's it mean?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't win the battle, but we won the damn war. So I'm so proud of these guys, and it's just awesome. I mean, I would do it out here in Tennessee. Thank y'all for coming out. I know in these difficult times it's ain't the easiest thing, but y'all are what make this happen, so thank y'all. But man, what a race. I mean, this place, the track was so green all day, and the tires were wearing. We corded the right front in the first stop, and we were cutting it close, but we ended up winning it. And I can't thank all the guys on board, the QPS Employment Group and the Love Fund Foundation. I mean, having all these guys on board with championship weekend means a lot.
All the back channel communication. How much were you and Marty talking about this very special trophy that we'll hand you right now too? You knew where you were throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
That trophy, you bet.
Woo! Yeah, I mean, this place is fun, and having championship weekend here is pretty special. And we were talking all night about being smart and everything we had to do to get this trophy right here. So it means a lot. I can't thank GMS enough for all they do, and we're just going to try to keep winning the rest of the year.
You and Ty are both future stars of this sport. You're not long for the ARCA Menards Series, but what has this series meant to you?
Yeah, I mean, being part of this developmental series is really big for a young man like me, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, because next year we're going Xfinity racing. So you got, thank y'all. But yeah, you got to learn as much as you can while you're at this level, and when you go back up to the big dogs, you got to bring your A game.
He's got the flag, he's got the trophy. He is the winner of the Sioux Chief Showdown, a tremendous year, not only by our race winner Ty Gibbs tonight, but Sam Mayer taking home some spoils.
Sam Mayer using the ARCA Menards Series to vault his budding NASCAR career. He'll go to the NASCAR Xfinity Series with Dale Jr.'s ride next year. That'll be a good thing for him as he continues to climb the ranks. Beautiful sunset. We'll be back to Memphis. One championship has been crowned today for the ARCA Menards Series with the Sioux Chief Showdown. Congratulations to Sam Mayer. One more still to be decided. The overall championship for the ARCA Menards Series, Brett Holmes finishes third, Dave Reef, but now he's the point leader once again.
Yeah, but look at the eyes. Would have been, could have been, should have been. The pylon behind him, he is not very happy with the 23 coming home in third tonight. Yes, big picture, back out in the lead in this seesaw battle, but where did it go wrong for a car and a driver that were so dominant tonight?
Yeah, just, man, we had a strong car all day, and I can't thank my guys enough. You know, just had a dominant car through the whole, 3/4 of the race, the last 50 laps. He got by us on the restart there, and I feel like as the track started cooling down, we started getting a little tighter, but, that was something we didn't really expect, and, just sucks we couldn't pull it off today, man. After leading that many laps, and, I feel like there's a couple of races where we should have had it, and but on the bright side, the point stuff, and You know, all you can do is not keep your head down too long and move on to the next one.
Among the most difficult of interviews to do, you'll find some perspective as Brett Holmes leaves Memphis with the point lead. Just a couple races to go, guys.
And now we go to the dirt, the Alan Crow 100 in Springfield, Illinois. That's next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, live on MAV TV.
We have seen restarts at the dirt tracks in ARCA in recent history cost 10 positions on restarts. If you're on the outside and you get a little bit over the groove, you get a little bit over what is called the cushion, man, we saw cars lose spots big time. 10 spots on a racetrack could provide the championship right there next Sunday, live here on MAV.
Be an interesting championship battle on the dirt. And the defending winner now standing by with Dave Reef.
And Michael Self, why wouldn't 2020 end the way it seems to be going? But it's going to be a battle down to the end, onto the dirt track next, then on to Kansas. How do you feel about leaving Memphis tonight?
I'm excited for Springfield next weekend. You know, we were good, picked up a win there last year. That's a place where, you know, driver makes a lot of difference, kind of like on the road courses. Venturini has always had really good stuff there, and you know, we'll see what happens at Kansas. Wasn't our best track a couple weeks ago, but I think we've hopefully made progress and figures out what we did to go wrong there. So yeah, disappointing night tonight, frustrating. We had two good races there at Bristol and Winchester, and then just not really sure today. We're just off as a team. Yeah, you know, I don't think any of the three of us were really happy with what we had. I think, yeah, it was just a really tough place to get a grasp on. We just weren't where we need to be.
And on we go.
So Michael Self still keeping that optimism. Let's check out where the point standings sit heading into next weekend's race in Springfield, Illinois. Brett Holmes, that 2-point lead over Michael Self. Hayley Deegan, third in the standings. She also leads the Bounty Rookie Challenge.
And she only finished one spot ahead of her ARCA combatant in the rookie standings in this race. Drew Dollar climbs now closer in fourth.
The dirt could be the equalizer next weekend in Springfield, Illinois.
The ARCA Menards series is brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. General Tire, anywhere is possible. And by Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
Thank you so much for joining us today from Memphis International Raceway for the ARCA Menards series. Look at the kids down there having a good time with this limited capacity crowd at Memphis. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Let's check out the Lucas Oil race recap of the Suchi PowerPEX 200. Early on, Ty Gibbs, the General Tire pole sitter, he was able to grab that lead, but then Brett Holmes, after Drew Dollar showed some strong outings as well, it was those three guys battling, and at the end of the race, this was the three-wide battle as Ty Gibbs took the victory.
To the checkered flag, Michael Self was pretty calm when we interviewed him. I would have been really upset if I got something damaged there with that three-wide run to the end in the last lap.
You tell how dark it's getting right now, even from our cameras, as the Joe Gibbs team continues to celebrate by victory lane.
You know, this is a big win for them. This might be the last time we see Sam Mayer live on MAV TV as he's going forward in NASCAR. Chandler Smith also kind of starting the graduation process. He's racing at Kansas in the ARCA finale. I really believe we saw some highlights today of drivers that are getting it. They're getting fast. They're staying consistent. Hayley Deegan among them. Taylor Gray among them. I'm excited to see what's to come on the dirt track next week on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, the dirt track is going to be interesting. They'll be sliding through the corners there and having a good time. Brett Holmes, by virtue of his third place run, the new point leader. But it was Ty Gibbs dominating again. So for Dave Reef, Jim Trado, and everybody at Lucas Oil Production Studios, I'm Bob Dillner saying thank you so much for watching, and congratulations to Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs.